Let's see here. Ezekiel Elliott, 86 yards and a touchdown. Cole Beasley, 7 catches for 73 yards. Panthers got some sacks out of Mario Addison and Wes Horton. Gavin, did you expect more out of the Cowboys? Or, they looked pretty bad on offense in this game.
I'm not terribly surprised. Carolina does have a good defense. They're playing at home. And the Cowboys have dealt with some injuries on the offensive line, which has been the main part of the success of their offense. I've not taken too much away from Zeke Elliott there, but if he doesn't have healthy, talented guys in front of him to block, he's not going to be able to do too much. So I think that definitely affected part of it. And again, what receivers do they have? With Cole Beasley as your number one guy, he's been there for a while and was never able to, even really establish himself as the number 2 there. It was between him and Williams, which guy was going to be the number 2. So to have him be your number 1 receiver is a little bit disheartening. But they, were able to get some sacks there on Cam Newton, and be relatively effective. So I don't think they're going to be the worst team in football, but they're not going to win too many games.
Yeah, and I expect the Cowboys to be a little bit better, and maybe Michael Gallup can step up and be a decent weapon. But losing Dez Bryant is one thing. Losing Jason Witten is a whole nother. The loss of Witten really hurts Dak Prescott for this year. Stoyo, do you agree? What do you think of the Cowboys this year?
I agree. When you have Deontay Thompson, NFL veteran, starting as your wide receiver, that is just not good. He is a special teamer at best, and he should not be starting. So, yeah, they need to find some more weapons. And still, I believe that Zeke should be doing a little bit more. Yeah, the offensive line is not as healthy as it can be, but I always thought that Zeke was an elite running back, and elite running backs need to find a way to get some yards regardless of who's blocking for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
He still averaged over 4 yards a carry. It's not that he was bad in this game.
So as we've come to expect such high expectations for the guy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we'll see. So the Cowboys will look to bounce back Sunday night at home against the Giants. And let's get to Sunday Night Football, which was the best game of the week. Bears at Packers. In the first half, the Bears looked absolutely nasty, like they were controlling everything, up 17-0 at halftime. The pass rush was dominating, and Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and I think a lot of people were holding their breath when Rodgers went down. But he comes back in the second half to shock the Bears in Lambeau, 24-23. Rodgers goes 20 of 30 for 3 touchdowns. When the backup, Deshaun Kaiser, stepped in briefly, he was 4 of 7 for 55 yards and 2 turnovers. Rodgers was definitely the story of this game. Trubisky goes 203 combined yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Not too much running game out of the Packers. Jamal Williams, 15 carries for 47 yards. Jordan Howard, 15 carries for 82 yards. I wish we could have seen a little bit more out of him, especially on that 3rd and 1 in the red zone late. Randall Cobb, 9 catches, 142 yards, and a touchdown. And pretty much all these stats are from the first half, but Khalil Mack was a game changer out there. Only 5 tackles, but an interception returned for a touchdown. Forced fumble recovery. Mack was a beast out there. Stoyo, what did you make? I know heartbreak that we couldn't come out with the win. Tough game at Lambeau. What did you think of the Bears-Packers on Sunday night?
What a game. I was happy to see us scoring 17 points on Green Bay in the first half. I believe this was like our highest halftime lead in Lambeau. And then we ended up going up 20-0, which was the highest we've ever been up on Green Bay, and somehow we managed to lose the game. To me, it comes down to a few things. First of all, Trubisky needs to be better. In the second quarter, he had Allen Robinson wide open in the end zone, and he overthrew him. So the Bears had to settle for a field goal and a 10-0 lead. I believe that if it was a 14-point lead, that would have been a much different game. And you cannot miss those opportunities like that against Aaron Rodgers. And then just the second half was just a shit show. I mean, this is the second game in a row that Matt Nagy had a 20-point plus lead and managed to blow. And the past game was in the playoffs, and this was Bears at Packers, which is pretty much a playoff atmosphere. This is not just a regular season game for us. This is our Super Bowl, basically. And, yeah, I just don't understand how you can go from having a 20-point lead to just blowing it in the Green Bay on national television. It's just whatever got you there, you stopped doing, and you played some scared football, and that will now win you games.
I would say, from my perspective, I feel like it was the Aaron Rodgers show. It really was. The first half, I think what you saw was a defense that was motivated and came out and was just nasty and super aggressive, and the Packers adjusted at halftime. And you're talking about Khalil Mack, who missed all of preseason, missed all of training camp, and I feel like in the second half he was winded. So that definitely hurts, and I think that's a good thing going forward, is that he'll only get better. Same goes for Roquan Smith. His first snap, he gets in there and gets a sack. He's a big impact guy as well, who didn't play much in the preseason or training camp. So I'm looking forward to seeing the development of those two as the season goes forward. On offense, it's a work in progress. We're still developing Trubisky. In my point of view, I think that Trubisky is still pretty much a rookie. Last year, he was not asked to do much at all in the John Fox Dowell Loggins system. It was run, pass here or there to nobodies. So I'm very capable of being patient with Mitch. This game was at Lambeau on prime time. Yeah, it would have been great to come out with a win, but I never really expected a win going into it. And as long as we get a split, if we can get a win in Chicago against the Packers later in the year, I'll take it. I'll be happy. So I do expect to see a lot of growth out of Trubisky this year, but not week one. So we'll see how it goes. The pressure definitely got to Mitch. You could tell we needed a game-winning drive, and he couldn't get it done. Play calling was a little suspect, but hopefully that improves. He's a new head coach, a rookie head coach, so hopefully that improves. And Aaron freaking Rodgers, the dude is nasty. He's maybe the one guy in the league that can come in there on a hurt knee and deliver that performance against that defense. And so credit to Aaron Rodgers. I'm not down on the Bears. I look for adjustments, and I still expect us to be in the playoffs at the end of the year as a wild card. Gavin, what did you think of this game? It had to be pretty entertaining as a Lions fan.
Even not as a Lions fan, just as a fan of football, it's entertaining to see someone seeing Aaron Rodgers come back and lead his team to what a lot of people considered an unlikely victory given the deficit, given that he was still injured, given that he only had half a game of football that he was able to use. Mm-hmm. It certainly helped to see Chicago lose it rather than Atlanta or some team I really don't care about. But it was just an entertaining game of football altogether. It was good to see the Bears defense step up. As much as I despise all things Chicago, I do miss the solid defense they used to bring every Sunday. So definitely looking a little good there. Questionable play calling in my mind in the second half. That's really my biggest takeaway for Chicago. Looked like they were trying to not lose the game rather than win the game. They were able to put up points against the Packers in the first half, and then if you look at the play calling choices outside, despite the single plays like not running it on 3rd and 1 with Trubisky or Howard, who had been running really well up to that point. Just it looked like they weren't opening it up as much as they had before, and the Green Bay defense was able to contain that. Even they could have ran the ball more. Even Jordan Howard was running all over them and just choosing to pass at times where it wasn't necessary.
Well, see, that's my thing. You said what play calling was too conservative, or you just didn't like the play calls. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like it was too conservative. I feel like they almost changed their game plan when they came out in the second half. They were up by 17, 20 points, whatever it was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what they had been doing had been working, and to change it that drastically, especially once when you know that Aaron Rodgers is out there. It's one thing if it's Kaiser and you can assume that he's going to give you a turnover every 5 plays like he had been doing. But I feel like if Aaron Rodgers comes out, I don't know. I'm assuming that Matt Nagy's been watching football for the last 10 years, and what that guy can do. I just feel like it was the wrong call to move to a more conservative offense when changing things up, being a little more aggressive had worked for them in the first half.
Here, I'm gonna say this. I'm fine with putting your foot on the brake, so to speak. I'm fine with. We have 2 great running backs, or not great, but solid. We have Tariq Cohen. We have Jordan Howard. Trubisky can do his little, short passes and run the ball and take time off the clock. I'm perfectly fine with that. We would have won this game 7 different ways if our defense could have just not allowed 70-yard touchdowns. Our defense gave up big play after big play in the second half. Kyle Fuller can't make a catch when the ball hits him in the chest. He couldn't make a catch the game would have been over. All right, so that's
there's a reason he plays defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is, but he's also getting paid $14 million a year.
Yeah, he got a new contract.
If you're getting paid that type of money, you have to make that play. This is not your rookie contract anymore.
Yeah.
You're being paid like an elite number 1 corner, and you're not behaving like it. To me, it's not just the defense, it's just also the offense had multiple 3-and-outs in the fourth that was just not helping anyone. But like Alex said, we could have won this game 7 ways, and somehow it did not happen. And it's scary for me. I have a hard time dealing with it because I think that the Bears team is one of the most complete Bears team I've seen in a while, except for the secondary and for the QB.
Yeah.
This front 7 is one of the best front 7 I've ever seen as a Bears fan. And this is comparing to the 05 and the 06 team, which went to the Super Bowl. So that front 7 is nasty.
Yeah.
The secondary, besides Eddie Jackson, is just subpar for me.
Yeah.
You just paid those corners a shit ton of money, but I don't think they just got better from last year. Just iffy corners.
Yeah, I like Eddie Jackson, but Eddie Jackson was out of position on the game-winning touchdown pass, and that allowed be in the right position so that he can't turn up field and go 70 yards. That's all I ask. I don't care if the guy catches the ball. Just don't let him go 70 yards. Kyle Fuller, besides the interception, I thought that he played decent defense. He got torched on that one 70-yard touchdown pass, but he was right there, close to batting the ball away. And Prince Amukamara, learn how to play some defense. You got torched 2 plays in a row badly, and another big touchdown. Those kind of touchdowns are momentum swingers, and Green Bay had all the momentum on their side there in the fourth quarter. As far as Mitch Trubisky goes, I'm not worried. I'm I'm more so, what do we expect out of Mitch Trubisky after last year? How is he going to develop? How is he going to grow after last year when he was just pretty much protected and babied all year long? When you're going into week 1 with a new system, a new head coach, new OC, new wide receivers, I say let's pump the brakes and give Trubisky some breathing room here, and we'll reassess like week 10.
But why? Look at like what Mahomes has done. They were drafted the same year. Trubisky has played like 12 or 13 games more than Mahomes has, and Mahomes looks like a veteran QB, while Trubisky still looks like a rookie.
Because when Mahomes gets drafted and comes in, there's a system in place. Andy Reid is there. Matt Nagy left, but it's still the same system. So Mahomes had a year to sit at that system and study and know the playbook and all that, and now he gets out there and he doesn't have to think as much. Trubisky is thinking. He's learning this new system now, this year.
Okay.
And last year, what kind of development are we going to see out of a quarterback in Dowell Loggins' John Fox system? Not much.
Okay, so why would you sit Trubisky the last 3 preseason games if he's not ready?
Hey,
Wouldn't have those games been useful to like get some of momentum or some reps in that new offense?
Absolutely, great point. And Matt Nagy referenced it after the game. He said, well, we don't have a lot of experience yet. Hey, Matt Nagy, you know what would have helped? Maybe playing your guys in the preseason. Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lose a game and then go to that when you consciously made the decision not to play him in the preseason. So, a good point, Stoyo. And as much as it stings, I was pissed Sunday night, but Monday I had a better perspective. As much as it stings to lose at Green Bay, at Lambeau, when we had a 20-point lead, I'm not panicking. I'm not worried. Let's go beat Seattle, and I'll be, you'll hear me praising the Bears and Nagy next week. Gavin, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers being hurt this early into the year? I just saw that he hasn't been practicing this week with like a knee sprain. How much can that hurt Green Bay going forward? I mean, tough way to start the year, even on a win.
Yeah, if Rodgers is out, we saw what Deshaun Kaiser did last year, and I think a lot of people said that part of that was the system, and in a whole offseason in Green Bay, behind Rodgers with McCarthy, he would actually be a talented guy. Going into the draft, there was some people talking about him being a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But I think we saw, Sunday night that he really isn't that great a quarterback. I honestly think that they would have preferred to have Brett Hundley there than a Deshaun Kaiser, which is saying something after his performance last year. But yeah, if Rodgers is out, I mean, you can't lose a elite quarterback like that and expect your team to still remain competitive. I think Philadelphia might have something to say to me about that, but
they're rare.
I know Rodgers is on a different level than Wentz is, but they did lose their MVP candidate quarterback and still won a Super Bowl. So I'm gonna call that an anomaly and say that Rodgers being out, we'll see a lot of what we saw last year from the Packers.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would say that Nick Foles is a different kind of backup. If he had hit the open market this year, he would gotten paid and would be a starter somewhere. So let's get to a game that you're a little more interested in, Gavin, is the Jets at the Lions on Monday night. We both picked the Lions to win this game at home, going against the youngest rookie quarterback to start Week 1 in the Super Bowl era. The very first throw of Sam Darnold's career is a pick six to Quandre Diggs. But it goes downhill from there for Detroit. Stafford, 286 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. The Lions running backs, 3 of them combined for 13 rushes and 34 yards. So the running game is definitely still an issue. Let's see. Darren Lee, the Jets linebacker, gets 2 interceptions for 57 yards and a touchdown. Gavin, Try to summarize what happened out there on Ford Field on Monday night. You couldn't have been happy.
No, I was not happy.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing, honestly, to lose that badly, and to play that badly. Sam Darnold didn't play poorly. The unfortunate thing is that I don't feel like the Jets beat us on offense. I think we beat ourselves on offense, honestly. There's multiple Jets players that came out and said that they knew our play calls before the plays were run. They knew it was coming, and so that's why they were able to be as effective as they were on defense. And then Matt Patricia comes out today and says, well, yeah, there's going to be things that people recognize. And that just, I don't know if we can fire him yet, but I cannot wait until we fire Matt Patricia. I had no confidence in him coming into this season. I don't understand how somebody who can take a defense and be in charge of that and have them be the fourth worst suddenly gets a head coaching job just because he comes from the tutelage of Bill Belichick, which hasn't had a lot of success over the years. We should have seen this coming. I'm really frustrated with the Lions organization right now. I think the play calling was awful. I think the preparation was awful. We obviously were not ready for the Jets, and we've got 7 months to be ready for any team that shows up. And to come out and just shit the bed like this is unacceptable. I expect a lot more this next week. If we look anything like we do this next week, I'm going to have to pay attention to rugby or something, because I can't watch a season like this where we have a good quarterback. We're not in the Joey Harrington area. We're not in the Matt Millen era. We shouldn't have games like this anymore. Not to the New York Jets with a rookie quarterback of all people.
Yeah, and I feel for you a little bit, Gavin. The thing that sucks is, all right, you guys got the new GM, Bob Quinn, who's a Patriot guy, and the problem is all this responsibility falls on one guy as the GM, and he's going to do what he wants. And so he's got this vision to bring in, he wants a Patriot guy, so he brings in Patricia, who may not have the resume to be a head coach, but he wants him to be a head coach. And this reminds me of when the Bears hired Emery and fire Lovie Smith after a winning season. After going 10-6, we fired Lovie Smith and bring in Mark Trestman. And I called it right then. I said, "Oh, the Bears are going to be, a pile of shit." And look what happened. And we're still rebuilding from that. And just because Bob Quinn wanted a Patriot guy, he went and got Patricia. And maybe Jim Caldwell, the winningest coach in Lions history, was a better option. It's inexcusable to have the Jets knowing what's coming week 1. I don't understand how that's possible. I've never heard that before like that. And you can't have that. You have to have different audibles, different formations. You get figured out like that. And that the good news for you is maybe that explains the 4 picks, is that the Jets just knew what was coming, and it's not a indictment on Stafford, but not a great start to the year. Stoyo, what did you see out there?
It was a lot easier to deal with the Green Bay loss when I got to watch the Lions get destroyed at home. But I don't know why they did this. They should have kept Jim Caldwell. Patricia is not a head coach material, and we saw this in preseason. We saw this at training camp. One of the famous Detroit news guys, I forgot his name, said this was the worst training camp he's seen in like 20 years covering the Lions.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's mind-blowing that you have a rookie QB on the road, and somehow he drops 48 on you guys. I mean, and you're a defensive-minded coach. Like, honestly, in New England, the only two people I would take from that franchise is Brady and Belichick.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I don't know why, for what reason, does not work out. So those would be the only two people I would accept in my franchise. I don't know what to tell you, Detroit. You have an elite QB, and you have a great safety, a good corner, and besides that, like, on paper, that team should be going to the playoffs. Like, I don't know why it's not, but somehow, some way, like, I expected Detroit to possibly win the game. I did wager on the Jets that they were going to cover, but I did not think it was going to be an ass whooping.
The defense alone covered for the Jets.
Yeah.
That's true.
I will add this.
Yeah.
Trubisky has 13 games as a professional QB, and Sam Darnold has 1. Sam Darnold has 1 multiple touchdown game. Trubisky has 0. And I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, he was babied. Well, I mean, who's he going to throw touchdowns to last year?
I'm over last year.
Tariq Cohen?
I'm talking about this year. This year, he had plenty of people, and to me, I would be way more confident if the Bears had Sam Darnold than Trubisky.
Well, yeah, you're talking about two different levels of talent. I never said Trubisky's the most talented quarterback in the league. He can be.
Yeah, but we picked him like he is.
Well, we should have gone with Deshaun Watson, is what I'm saying. But we're stuck. We're stuck with Trubisky, and I'm trying to look on the bright side. I mean, you know what I liked about Trubisky? Him putting his head down and running in for a touchdown and taking a hit along the way, showing some toughness. I like to see that.
I didn't know that he was in the Lion game.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
How do we stop talking about my Lions?
Let's go back to the Lions.
There's some favoritism going on here.
All right.
I do want to bring up that Stafford did get hurt multiple times during this game. I do think that had some effect on him.
Okay.
But the first injury, he got rolled up on by his own guy. Affect his mobility. That has to affect him to a degree. I know he's not known for being a more mobile QB, but when you're trying to move around in the pocket, trying to evade defenders, but your foot's hurt, that's going to affect some of it. But not an excuse. Certainly not the reason why we got our asses handed to us. But as far as I know, there's a lot of people that are really down on the Lions in general, particularly Stafford. When he throws 4 picks against a defense that people don't really see as elite anymore. There's people that show a lot of concern for that, but I don't think that this is the Stafford we're going to see week in and week out. And I'm happy that we have Stafford on our team. I'd rather have him than at least half the quarterbacks in the league right now. So, I'll just leave it at that.
We'll see if they can turn it around. They got a tough game next week at San Francisco at 4:05 on Fox. So if the Lions are going to turn around, they need to do it quickly, and otherwise they'll find themselves in an 0-2 hole. Going up against Garoppolo, so the defense needs to be on its game. So we'll see what the Lions do going forward. I, too, expect them to be better. I mean, going into that game, it wouldn't have surprised me if the Lions won 48-17. The Jets winning 48-17 is just a shocking final result.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the second Monday night game. Was the Rams at the Raiders. The Rams take it to the Raiders in the second half in Oakland, 33-13. Jared Goff throws for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr was 29 of 40 for 303 yards but 3 interceptions. Todd Gurley combined for 147 yards and a touchdown. A big game from Raiders tight end Jared Cook, 9 catches, 180 yards. And Marcus Peters continues to tear it up with a pick 6, 50-yard interception for a touchdown. Stoyo, what did you make of... I mean, it was a good game up until halftime, and then the Rams kind of run away with it. What do you think of Rams at Raiders?
Yeah, the Rams are definitely one of the best teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And they added a lot of defensive players to make a run. I found it interesting that it was a close game till the second half, and then it felt like the Raiders needed some kind of pass rush. That if only they had like someone that could get to the QB, they would have done much better. But I guess they didn't need that person.
No.
So yeah, Raiders are gonna have to do a lot of things to get out of this interesting spot that they're in. I backed Gruden before he got hired, and I backed him once he got hired, and now I'm even backing him even more since he gave us Khalil Mack. So thank you, John Gruden. I knew you were a good coach. I just didn't know why. Yep. Now I know. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Gavin, are the Raiders bad, or are the Rams just really good?
I think that it's more that the Rams are good than the Raiders are bad.
Yeah.
You look at the main weapons for Oakland. You're talking about obviously Derek Carr throwing the ball, and then you've got guys like Jordy Nelson and Amari Cooper. Those are their big guys, and the Rams added 3 really, really good cornerbacks in the secondary. You've got Sam Shields there. You've got Aqib Talib, and then you've got the gentleman from Kansas City whose name I cannot think of right now.
Peters.
Peters, yeah. So you've got those guys in the secondary shutting down your wide receivers. I think that's partially why Jared Cook was able to do as much as he was. A relatively weak linebacking core is another reason for that, I believe. But you're able to shut down the main weapons for Derek Carr. I think that's a part of the reason why the offense struggled so much. But that being said, Derek Carr was like 18 for 21 and 199 yards in the first half.
Wow.
And somehow, despite that, and with the Oakland having 10 penalties for 145 yards in the first half alone, 13-10 is looking pretty good. Like, man, like this should be our game. If we didn't commit so many penalties, we're probably tied or maybe even winning, and this margin's ours. And then they came out in the second half. Superior coaching always wins at halftime.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, Patricia. You asshole. And the Rams defense, Wade Phillips, he's a defensive genius, and he came out and they got 3 picks on Carr. He was a lot less effective. Even shut down Jared Cook there in the second half. And Todd Gurley also got it together in the second half. When your best offensive weapon can start earning that $15 million a year, that's always a good way to win some games. But I think more of this is the Rams, but I also think that people that were Grudenites and believers, I think that this might be a little bit of a wake-up call and see that maybe he's not quite who they thought they were.
Yeah.
And then he said Khalil Mack didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Just ripped on Khalil Mack right before the game. I mean, I didn't have a lot of respect for Gruden as a coach going into this, but that's just you didn't talk to the dude.
Yeah.
You fucked up, man.
Yep.
That.
Thank you.
Don't try to put a hole on him.
Thank you, John. I love you.
All right. Well, so great week 1. Lots of excellent football. Can't wait for week 2. Let's do some predictions before we go. Thursday night, tomorrow night, we got the 1-0 Ravens at the 1-0 Bengals in an AFC North showdown. Stoyo, how do you see that going?
Bengals.
Bengals? What do you got, Gavin?
I think this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
I think that the Ravens are going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm going Ravens as well in Cincy. Let's see if Flacco can put together back-to-back good performances. Then we go Sunday, 1-0 Panthers at the 0-1 Falcons. Atlanta trying to bounce back. Gavin, who takes this one?
I've got Atlanta here. Matt Ryan plays better at home. He plays better in a dome. All things that he did not have this last week. And the Panthers are dealing with some injuries in their secondary and on their offensive line. So I think that Atlanta is going to win, but they also have their own injuries. But being at home, Matt Ryan, I think that Calvin Ridley, I believe he's a talented guy. The more he plays, the more time he gets in, the better he's going to be, and eventually he's going to be a really good number 2 receiver for them, especially with Julio Jones right there. I got Falcons in this one.
All right. What about you, Stoyo?
I guess I have to go with the Falcons because this is almost a must-win for them.
Yeah.
I mean, if this starts 0-2, it's going to be really hard for them to make it to the playoffs. So I guess I'm going to have to pick them, but not very confidently.
Yep, I'm with you guys. I got the Falcons getting back to 500, bouncing back. I don't think they're as bad as they looked on the opener Thursday night. So let's go to Vikings at Packers. I'm going with the Vikings to get a road win in Lambeau. The Packers just narrowly squeezed past Chicago in Lambeau. And with Rodgers a little banged up, I got the Vikings coming in with that nasty defense. And the Vikings improving to 2-0 and taking a stronger hold on the division lead. Gavin, how do you see this one going?
As I kind of alluded to earlier, it all lies on Aaron Rodgers and his health.
Yep.
Still a little bit unknown. Teams being very, very hush hush about the, the condition of his leg. But assuming that he plays, I have to go with the Packers. They had a good pass rush this last Sunday night. And that's something that the Vikings are going to struggle with is defending a good pass rush. You got guys like Clay Matthews and Nick Perry coming in at you against injured guys on the offensive line. It's going to rattle Kirk Cousins a little bit too much, and it's Aaron Rodgers. So I got Pack.
All right. What about you, Stoyo?
I have the Vikings.
Uh-huh.
I'm hoping that Harrison Smith is going to finish the job that Chicago started last week and just destroy Rodgers for good. But yeah, I'm a believer in that defense, and yeah, fuck Green Bay, so yeah. I'm not picking those cheese-eating fuckers.
Well, I think Minnesota's the better team, and I look for Dalvin Cook to have a big game in Lambeau. Let's go Texans at Titans. Both teams 0-1. Both teams really needing a win here early. One of these two that I have both go into the playoffs. One of these two is going to start 0-2, so it won't be good for me. Stoyo, Texans at Titans.
I have the Texans. I have Deshaun Watson taking over this game and leading the Texans to victory.
Yep, Mariota a little banged up. What do you got, Gavin?
Yeah, I've got the Texans as well. Mariota hurts. The defense is looking good there for Houston. Deshaun Watson, another game under his belt. I got them winning this.
Yep, I concur. Go Texans. Chiefs, 1-0 Chiefs at the 0-1 Steelers. Are we going to see another tie here, or are the Steelers going to get a win in Heinz Field? What do you say, Gavin?
I got the Steelers here. I mentioned Matt Ryan playing at home is a lot better. Ben Roethlisberger is even more so that way.
Uh-huh.
So I got him. Now that they've got some tape on Pat Mahomes in a real game, I believe that they're going to be able to defend him better than the Chargers did. So I got the Steelers in this one.
Nice. What about you, Stoyo?
No Le'Veon, and I'm going to back Kansas City. I'm going to say they're going to come out with the victory.
Okay. I'm going Steelers. I want to introduce T.J. Watt to Patrick Mahomes. And I expect big things once again out of James Conner in Le'Veon's absence. Let's go to 0-1 Lions at the 0-1 Niners. One of these two teams who have playoff aspirations are going to start 0-2 and will be feeling the pressure early in the season. Does Garoppolo start a losing streak, or do they get a big win at home? What do you say, Gavin?
I've got the 49ers winning this one.
Wow.
I didn't have faith in Patricia going into this game. I really have no faith in him now. After watching this last week, just not prepared at all. And going on the road, even though San Francisco did lose their game, I think that they're better than than with how they showed, statistically on the scoreboard. They were playing against one of the better teams in the league, one of the best defenses. And so I I think that San Francisco's going to be pretty good, and I've got them winning this one against my Lions.
All right. What say you, Stoyo?
I have San Francisco winning this game by 3 touchdowns. It's
wow.
Gonna be easy. And I'm just
now I know not to watch.
Well, the Bears have been the worst team in the North for the last 4 seasons, so I'm happy to pass down the doormat from Chicago to Detroit. And it's been
not accept.
It's been time, but unfortunately has arrived. Gavin, enjoy the bottom again.
We'll see.
Yeah, I really don't get why Detroit is this bad. I just don't. Maybe it was just a really bad first game, and maybe Patricia is a little bit better than expected. Maybe there's some light, but I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've been wrong before, so hopefully they suck, but who knows? Maybe they can come out and destroy Garoppolo. Who knows?
I think it'll be a good, hard-fought game. I'm going to watch it. I'm looking forward to it. But I think the Niners find a way to get it done. We'll see if Stafford can protect the ball better in this game. And same goes with Garoppolo. They each threw over 3 interceptions in their first game of the year. So both teams need to clean it up, and we'll see which one gets it done. The 0-1 Raiders at the 1-0 Broncos. I see the Broncos improving the 2-0 with that defense and a better running game than we thought. Running game by committee. I got the Broncos improving to 2-0 and Gruden falling to 0-2. What say you, Stoyo?
I'm gonna say Oakland's gonna come out and gonna have a nail biter and is gonna win by a field goal.
Okay. At Mile High is a tough place to win. We'll see if the Raiders can get it done. What about you, Gavin?
I've also got the Broncos winning this one. They showed me a little bit. They look a little bit better than what I thought they were going to be this last week. Holding off Russell Wilson. I know that he was missing, some guys, but he is, one of the best quarterbacks in this league, and to be able to hold him and still get the win, that makes me feel like they're going to be able to hold off a struggling Oakland team.
Yeah, we might see Carr continue throwing some interceptions against that Denver defense. Patriots at Jags, both teams 1-0, a rematch of the AFC Championship game. You guys won't be shocked with who I'm going here. Jacksonville all the way. I know I've picked against the Patriots twice now, so maybe I'm just a hater, but go Jacksonville. What say you, Gavin?
I've got Jacksonville in this one.
Wow.
But I could easily be swayed to go the other way because of that one guy named Tom.
Truby?
Yes, Tom Truby. He's gonna sway me.
All right.
But the Jags defense is really strong. They are going to be very mentally prepared for this and very eager to get after Tom Brady. I don't want to say that they were looking ahead this last week, but I also expected them to play a little bit better against New York, so that it's possible that they were. So I've got them winning this game, but I think this is going to be a close one.
Nice. All right, what about you, Stoyo?
I have the Patriots.
Okay.
I mean, Belichick, Brady, what else needs to be said? I just can't believe it's still happening after like a decade and a half, but somehow they're still winning over there, so I have to go with them.
All right, let's go to Sunday night. Giants at Cowboys. Both teams 0-1. Both teams desperately need a win. I'm going Giants over the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football in Dallas in Jerry World. What about you, Stoyo?
I have the Giants all the way. Dallas sucks this year.
Yeah.
And I want to see Saquon run for like $155 in Jerry World.
I'm looking for that Saquon versus Ezekiel Elliott. We'll see which running back's better. What about you, Gavin?
Yeah, I got the Giants as well.
Nice.
Just superior team.
Yep.
Nothing else to say about it.
Absolutely. And then let's go to Monday night. I'll be watching this one. Great game. See if the Bears can bounce back. Seahawks, 0-1 Seahawks at the 0-1 Bears. One of these two teams is going to be 0-2, and will be pretty upset about it. I'm going Bears all the way. We're going to get some pressure on Russell Wilson. He thought those sacks in Denver were tough. The sacks in Chicago are going to be tougher. What say you, Gavin?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go Seahawks.
All right.
Got the Seahawks in this one. They on the road, they were able to get 3 picks on Case Keenum, who I think is a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky.
Okay.
And they were able to get some sacks on him. The line in Chicago struggled against Green Bay, and it's like the Aaron Rodgers effect, but like a step down.
What say you, Stoyo?
I say that Chicago's going to win.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be a great game. We're going to dominate. And I would want to argue that Case Keenum is not a better QB than Trubisky, but I can't. And even though he's
interested to hear your points,
he went undrafted, and Trubisky was the second pick overall, which is mind-blowing to me.
Yep.
So hopefully this is another game where Trubisky can manage the offense and not be too exposed, so we can give him another 6 months grace period to get going. So I'm going to pick Chicago, and hopefully Trubisky can get it going, and I'm just looking forward to see Mac and just see the destruction that he can bring on that porous offensive line of Seattle.
All right, so there you have it. There's our picks. I say no 6-month grace period needed for Trubisky. Let's give him a month. I'll reassess after a month. I don't put anything in the last year. This is the year I want to see Trubisky develop. So I'll give him a month, and I'll reassess. And hopefully the Bears have a winning record at that point. So, all right. Week 2 coming up tomorrow night. Can't wait. Should be some great football this weekend. And thanks, guys, for being on. We'll be back next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. And have a great weekend, guys. Peace out.